Hey guys, what is up? It's Marissa here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here with a super exciting video. Today we are reviewing Crave. This book has been the talk for a long time, and honestly, I'm a little bit late to the game, but I finally finished reading it about 10 minutes ago. So I thought I would film a little review for you. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything, just going to give you my general opinion. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So first things first, I thought I would give you a little plot overview. So basically the main character, her name is Grace, and she is from San Diego, California, where it's super sunny all the time. And then her parents unfortunately die in a car wreck, and she lives with her best friend for a couple of weeks, but then her uncle and cousin in Alaska agree to take her in. And her uncle is a headmaster of a elite kind of boarding school, so automatically she is sent to this boarding school because, you know, they all live on campus, go to school on campus. So her new home is Katmere Academy, and right away she feels super out of place. First off, being the weather. You know, Alaska is much different climate than San Diego, so that was a shock for her when her cousin picked her up in a snowmobile, as I think that would be shocking to all of us, even for me who does experience winter once a year. Yes, but right away she feels out of place, off, like there's something going on that she does not understand. And of course, it isn't really a spoiler, but Jaxon Vega, the male love interest in the novel, is a vampire, and there are a couple other spooky, interesting mystical creatures throughout the book, but I'm not going to spoil those for you guys. So all you know for right now is that there are vampires at this school and Grace is a human, and she is so mind blown by how much everyone's staring at her, more than they would as a normal first day new girl. So you kind of see that unravel, why they're staring at her, what makes her different from them. That is the general plot. Now jumping into my review. Before reading this book, I saw a lot of negative reviews online. Everyone was comparing this novel to Twilight, about how vampires and love interests, and I just want to start by saying it is not like Twilight. The plot is very different from Twilight. There is heavy angst between Grace and Jaxon, which is very common in a lot of YA books, but I think the thing that makes people believe it's Twilight is that it's between a vampire and a human. But if you took out the vampire aspect, it's a normal angsty relationship between two characters. So that itself does not make it Twilight. I think that's why a lot of people automatically assume it's like Twilight, because there's a vampire and a human and there is some angst, but that's it. And the plot itself is nothing like Twilight. I mean, yes, like Bella, Grace moves to a new place where there's a lot of weird creatures in town and she doesn't really know it yet, but that's pretty much where the similarities begin and end. So now that I've debunked the Twilight lookalike myth, I'm going to give you my actual review. I actually really enjoyed the plot. I thought the plot was interesting. I thought it was an interesting take on the whole vampire, still in high school, but it's a boarding school. And the book ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm really excited to see where the second book goes from here after the big finale in the first book. However, the writing style is not particularly my favorite. A lot of critics claim that it was written like a bad fanfic, and honestly, I can see the resemblance. If that style is exactly what you like and this book is perfect for you, I was taken back by the Wattpad kind of style. It's not normally something I like, but I did enjoy this book overall, so I'm going to say that right away. I did enjoy the book. As an example, right in the beginning, she says that I'm not going to be like any YA character or something along those lines. And to me, that's kind of tacky because I feel like obviously it foreshadows that you are going to be like every other YA main character. So that was a turn off for me, but that's very nitpicky, so I wouldn't hold that against the entire book. This is very nitpicky, and you're probably gonna disagree with me or say that I'm being way too dramatic about it. But I really don't like when fantasy novels reference other fantasy novels or franchises or universes, mostly because I feel like it takes away from like the new mystical world and kind of makes yours seem weaker than the franchise you're referencing, if that makes any sense. This is not a spoiler, but they do make a reference to Twilight. They directly quote Twilight, and it's the quote that says, "I never said I didn't want to be friends, just that we shouldn't be," or whatever the quote in Twilight is. That's what Jaxon wrote to her in the beginning of the book and actually gave her a copy of Twilight. For me, that was very tacky. I got secondhand embarrassment from that. I read that and I was like, ooh, no, I can't. I think the author even references Harry Potter once or twice. And for me, I don't like that. Like, I think if you're writing your own magical universe, stay in your own magical universe as if it's the only one to ever exist. I don't know. That's not really in regard to the plot or the author or anything that she did that I didn't like. It's just my own personal preference in a novel that I like my fantasy worlds separate from each other. So I did not like the references, but if that's something that does not bother you, as it probably wouldn't bother a lot of people, then it's probably not even a big thing to you, so I wouldn't worry about that. I give some more negatives. I know I told you I like this book, and I do, but I do have some downfalls about it that weren't exactly my favorite. I feel like a lot of the emotion was showing rather than telling, and I feel as if it went from you know, hating each other to like being madly in love on Grace's end. And it didn't feel like a slow, natural progression. It was kind of like, I hate you, okay, now make out with me. You know, it was very quick, and it felt a little unnatural sometimes. Sorry, this is not a spoiler. Actually, it might be a spoiler. No, it's not a spoiler. It's just a vampire characteristic. So in her universe, Tracy Wolff's universe, vampires can suck on humans and not turn them, not kill them, just take a general drink. As you know, that's different than in other vampire mystical fantasy books. Mostly a pretty common known thing about vampires, but you know, some books always keep a little different skills for their vampires, so you never know. But they're having an intense makeout session towards the end of the book, and he bites on her, and she gets this immense amount of pleasure from it, almost as if it's like some kind of sexual act, which for me was really, really weird, and I was kind of like, what? Like, what? I don't know. That was one cringy thing that I didn't really like, but aside from that, I thoroughly enjoyed the novel. I did get a little secondhand embarrassment from some of the quotes and the lines. Is a little cringy. I can see why some people have said it's written like a Wattpad, because it kind of gives me that vibe. I do think the plot line is interesting. It's much different than Twilight. I think the plot is really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to see where it goes in the second, third, and fourth book. The third book just came out March 2nd, so that only a couple weeks ago. And then the fourth book is coming out mid-September. So I think that's available for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So I got to do some reading, so I'm all caught up for the fourth book in September. I have the second book right here. So even though I found this book a little cringy, it did not hold me back from wanting to read the second book. So clearly it was good enough for me to want to keep reading. And I really do recommend you give it a read at least once, you know. Even if you don't read the entire series, just give the first book a shot. You never know, you might end up loving it or hating it, you know, I don't know. But so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and then you know that I will definitely be back with a review of the second book once I finish that up. So yes, bye guys.